Hey you guys, it's Mrs. Machado again, and I am just here to give our next week's lesson. And it's kind of a really complicated thing that we're learning about. We are learning about DNA. And not only are we learning about DNA, we're learning about how the DNA from our parents and from our grandparents affect what we are like today. And it's something scientists study a lot. It's something scientists do not know everything about, but we want to share with you what we do know, okay? The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go over our spelling and vocab words for this week. Then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about families and how things are passed down in different kinds of families. And then we're going to read our book. All right, so our first vocab word is, and spelling word is parent, okay? P-A-R-E-N-T, all right? And a parent is a mother or father. And we can have, actually, I'm going to tell you, and you're probably going to be surprised about this, you can have more than one mother or father, and we'll talk about that because that probably sounds a little strange, right? And actually, sometimes a parent is someone, can kind of be like someone who takes care of you. Maybe they're not your actual mother and father. Maybe they're a grandparent. Maybe they're an aunt or uncle. There's lots of different ways that families are made up. But a parent is a mother or father for the sake of talking about DNA. Inherit. Inherit is spelled I-N-H-E-R-I-T. And inherit means to get from a family member. To get from a family member. If you look at this picture right here, there is a parent, probably a mother or father, and it's got a little arrow pointing to the baby. And then above the arrow is lips and eyes. So when using the word inherit for our story and for our lessons this month, it's talking about how when I had my daughter Mercy and she was born from my body, she ended up having the same color eyes I have. And so this parent gave this child the same lips that they had and the same eyes that they had. So that is what inherit. It's inheriting different traits. And I actually think trait, yes it is, it's one of our vocab words, all right? Trait is spelled T-R-A-I-T. And it is a feature that each person has, like being tall or short, having blue or brown eyes, okay? So a trait is something we have. So I have the trait of having blue eyes. I have the trait of having a longer nose. Some people don't have that. My earlobes, we talked about this, during our weekly lessons, my earlobes are attached to my head. Some people aren't. That's a trait. My daughter, Compassion, she has a trait that not a lot of people have. She has these little holes on the sides of her ears, like right here, one here and one here. And she was born like that. Not used to. It's a trait of hers. My daughter Mercy has blonde hair. That's her trait. And my daughter Olivia has brown hair. That's her trait. We only have 4 spelling words this week. Our last one is talent. T-A-L-E-N-T. Talent. And it's actually the same picture we had for skill. Sometimes you build skills from your talents, and talents are something you are good at, all right? Something you're talented at. My son Abraham, actually his picture is right here. Oh, stuff just fell. I don't think you guys have met him. This is Abraham. He is talented at his handwriting. He has very nice handwriting. He actually can write pretty well. I'm very impressed with him. This son, Vaughn, right here, he is talented at math. He's really, really good at math. Olivia is talented in math as well in school, and she does really well in school, and she's also talented in cheerleading. We kind of learned about that. And then Celeste is very good at doing makeup, and she actually draws very well too. And so does my husband, her father, okay? And that is a trait or a talent that might have been passed down from him to her. And then we also have Felicity, who's very good at sports. All right. So we'll talk more about my family in a little bit. So those are talents or traits that people have. In this story, they're going to talk about grandparents and how some of the grandparents, look right here, the grandparents look like their grandkids. And I find this very interesting, and it is true. I look a little bit like my grandparents, but families are all different, and they're all made up in different ways. And sometimes your mother and father doesn't share the same DNA, and so you don't share traits or physical traits. Things like you don't look alike like your parents. Let's look at my family. This is a picture that was taken a long time ago, and it was actually taken the day before we all officially became a family. And this is my husband, Rui, and this is me. And these are our kids, right? We actually have more kids now. We have 3 more kids now. But this is our kids when we first got married. I had adopted Olivia, Felicity, Abe, and Vaughn before I met Rui. And after I met Rui, Rui adopted Olivia, Felicity, Abe, and Vaughn. Celeste is his daughter that he had before he met me. And so she is my stepdaughter. And a stepdaughter means I'm married to her biological father, and her mom is still involved in her life and she lives a little bit with us and a little bit with them. And so she is my stepdaughter. So all of us, we all have different DNA from each other. That means I don't look like Abe at all. And I don't look like Vaughn. And I kind of look like Felicity, but that's just not because she has any of my DNA. It's just a coincidence. And Olivia and I don't look alike. Celeste and I kind of look alike, but we're not. Our DNA, I didn't give her any of my DNA. She actually has DNA with her father. All right? So there are lots of ways we can be a family and we can have parents. And I know some of you guys are adopted, and I know some of you guys have step families, and I know some of you don't all live with your mom and dad together, and that's okay. And I don't want you to feel different because of this story we're reading. But what we're trying to do in this story is explain how DNA goes from older people to younger people. So I mentioned earlier that you can have more than one mom. That's kind of what I was talking about. I only have one mom. I have my birth mom. It was my mom who raised me. Celeste has a stepmom, me, and she has her birth mom, the mom who gave birth to her, which her name is Melissa. My kids, Olivia, Felicity, Vaughn, and Abe, they also have birth mothers. And then they have adoptive mother, which is me. And so you can have different things. And they also have birth fathers, and they have an adoptive father. So that's kind of the way families can work. They can work differently. And then I've also, like I said, had 3 kids since then, and they only have one mom and one dad. So no matter what your situation is, it's okay and it's good. And I just want you to know that. So as we read this story, we'll talk about, this is just about parents who have birth children that share their same DNA. So it's in your DNA. You're gonna have to be careful with me, or you have to bear with me. That's the phrase. You sometimes have to think about what I'm going to say. You have to bear with me because when I read this, and this one has lots of words because I said I picked the highest level, I read this backwards because when it's on my computer, it's backwards for me. So it takes a little bit of thinking. So it's in your DNA, and it's by Katie Strugel, and it's illustrated by Alex Weishart again. He did the same pictures again. If you guys remember what this is the DNA strand. And remember I said each of these little lines has information for your cells. Your DNA is the boss of your cell. And your cell is the worker, which helps keep your body put together. All right. Now let's stick to the story, right? Let's not go off on any other topic. So this is chapter 1 of our of the books we're going to look at today. It says, like your grandparents. All right. Josh looks at a picture in a photo album. He sees some children. Dad, who are the people in this picture, he asks. Dad looks at the album. These are pictures of your family. This was a long time ago. This is your great-grandpa when he was 4 years old. Look at this picture. This is his great-grandpa when he was 4 years old. You see, it's kind of a small picture, but... So that's a great-grandpa. A great-grandpa, you have your parent, and then you have a grandpa, your parent's parent. And then his dad is your great-grandpa, all right? Hey, says Josh, look at this picture of me when I was 4 years old. Great-grandpa and I look alike, but we also look different. Great-grandpa had brown hair. So does Josh. Great-grandpa had brown eyes. So does Josh. Great-grandpa had curly hair. Josh does not have curly hair. So you see, this is a picture of Josh, and this is a picture of his dad's. So his great-grandpa, okay, right here. And so they have some similarities, all right? How is Josh the same or different from his grandpa? Let's think about it for just a second. When we go and look back in our text, because we always look to the words or the text of our paper for an answer. And it says, great-grandpa and I look alike. Great-grandpa had brown hair. So does Josh. All right, so they all look the same that way. Great-grandpa has brown eyes. So does Josh. So they both have brown eyes. But great-grandpa had curly hair and Josh has straight hair. So that's how they look different. Josh looks at more pictures. He sees a picture of a man working on a house. Is this great-grandpa too? Josh asks. Yes, says Dad. He built a house where my family lived. Great-grandpa liked to build things. Hey, says Josh. Dad, you like to build things like great-grandpa. You built the garage for the cars. And you built the garage for the cars. And you and great-grandpa are the same. So, based on what I just read, based on the words I just read and the text I just read, how are Josh's dad like his great-grandfather? Well, they both liked to build things. They both had a talent. Let me find the word talent right here. They both had a talent for building things. When we go back, I'm going to just go back to this page for just a second. When Josh is talking about how he has eyes like his grandpa and brown eyes like his grandpa and the same color hair, he's talking about traits. Okay, those are things you can see, more physical things. When he's talking about things they like to do, things they're able to do easily, that's more of a talent, building things. All right. I know we have one kid in our class. I'm not going to say his names because we're on YouTube, but one kid in our class who's good at working on cars, and he says he likes to do that with his father. So that's probably a talent that they share. All right. Josh looks at more pictures in the album. He sees his great-grandpa with 2 young children. Dad, who are the children in this picture, he asks. Dad looks at the picture. This is a picture of great-grandpa with his children. This is Grandma Barb and her brother when they were little. They were brother and sister. Okay. So in this picture, in this family, there is a parent, right? And this is the parent, and these are the children. And the little girl ends up going to be Josh's grandma, Barb, and then this is Barb's brother on the other side. Yeah, right here, Barb's brother. Hey, says Josh, look at this picture of my sister, Claire, when she was a little girl. Claire looks like Grandpa Barb. Oh my gosh, I'm not saying this right. It's because I'm reading this backward. Let's try it again. Sometimes you have to restart and try again. Hey, says Josh, look at this picture of my sister, Claire, when she was little. Claire looks like Grandma Barb. Grandma Barb has blonde hair. So does Claire. Grandma Barb has blue eyes. So does Claire. So their hair color and eyes are the same. So now Claire does not have the same eye color or hair color as her great grandpa. She did not get those traits, or she did not inherit those traits from her grandpa, but she did inherit the traits from her grandma. So you might be related to someone with sharing their actual same DNA and not share any physical characteristics of that person. All right? And you're still related. Okay? Happens sometimes. Josh looks at more pictures. This is a graduation picture. This is Grandma Barb. Is this Grandma Barb? Asks Josh. Yes, says Dad. Grandma Barb graduated college and became a teacher. Hey, says Josh. Grandma Barb was a teacher. Claire wants to be a teacher. Claire and Grandma Barb share many traits too. So Claire wants to be a teacher and Grandma Barb both want to share a teacher. So they're kind of using the word trait here. I would use the word talent because teaching is kind of an art, I think. It's a skill and you can be good at it, or, you know, it's not your cup of tea. It's not what you, that's an expression, which means it's not something that comes easy or that you enjoy doing. So, you know, I would say that they share that talent of teaching. That's right, Dad says. Grandparents, parents, children, brothers, and sisters all have similar traits. They can all have similar traits. They don't always. They can all have different traits too. A trait is how a person looks, including hair color, eye color, and height. Well, we've talked about that. Josh looks at great-grandpa. Josh's dad likes to build things like great-grandpa. Claire looks like Grandma Barb. Grandma Barb was a teacher. Claire wants to be a teacher too. It is fun to learn about grandparents. People and families can be alike. People and families can be different. Yep, they can. And so in this very last page, and that's the end of this chapter, in this very last page, you have like a little family tree. Right? And the family tree is when you start with like your great-grandparents and you go down to your grandparents, and then you go down and you put your parents, you put their kids, and those kids are your parents, and then the parents' kids. I would love to see you guys do a family tree. That would be really fun to do at home with your parents. Or if you guys want to write or make a video about how you are alike or not alike to your parents, you can do that too. And if you do, I will definitely love to maybe share that with the rest of the class, or maybe you'll get a little prize. Oh, let's keep the good work. Let's keep learning even though we can't get together. I miss you guys, and I can't wait to see you again. And have a blessed day. And I'm making this on Mother's Day, so make sure that you wish your mothers a happy Mother's Day and give them a big hug for me. Or for you. From you, not from me. All right. Bye.